Hi, welcome into Knit Habits. I'm so excited to have you here today with me, checking out what yarny nonsense I've been getting into lately, and I'm glad you're here though. And I've had some new subscribers, so I'm really excited that that is happening and more people are checking out the channel. Very excited, so I'll tell you to do the usual YouTube things, the like, subscribe, and ring the bell. It does help me get my video out there a little bit more. So welcome in. If you'd like to follow me on Ravelry, I am on there as XtinakYarnie, and then on Instagram as Xtina_Knita. And so you can check me out there. I will have everything linked below, so if you want to check that out under where it says more under the video, that will open up all the show notes and where to find me and all of that good stuff. So welcome in. I do have a couple of finished objects for you, some things that I've started since my last podcast, and we'll talk a little bit about books that I've read, things that I'm watching, and a little bit of, I have just a tidbit of therapy talk at the end. Not a lot. I don't have anything in depth that I've planned on for today. So we'll just talk a little bit about something that I call chunking. So what do I have as my featured pattern? Everybody's probably either made one or seen these for sure. This is the half and half triangles wrap by Purl Soho. This is all done in linen quill. I do have some leftover yarn. I think it was 2 skeins each, and so I didn't finish the 2 skeins, so I still have enough. I think I could probably even make, you know, maybe a nice cowl or something out of this. But the 2 colors, the orange is super orange is what it's called, and then this is green turquoise, and they're just kind of my 2 favorite colors for sure. I really like the linen quill. I plan on making a daily pullover with some that I have here, and this is in, I think it's called Likey Pink. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. There it is. And this is 439 yards for 100 grams, and it is 50% spine Highland wool, 35% alpaca, and 15% linen. It is very soft to the touch. So and that linen is what gives it kind of that nice heathered color. It's really pretty. So I want to make a daily pullover out of this at some point in the future. So that is the featured pattern. I don't even think I have a project page out of the on this on Ravelry. I don't think I was doing that yet, so it's not on there, but it is one that I enjoyed. I think if I was to do this again, I would definitely do the larger size. I think the small is just a little bit odd to wear, but you know, it's a fun, easy knit, very you know, sit and watch TV kind of knit for that. So that one. The 2 finished objects that I have for you. One, it's just a dishcloth, you know. It's got it's the grandma's favorite dishcloth, free pattern on Ravelry. Nothing special, just a little bit of a, these are so my colors though, right? So I'll make more. I've already cast on another one and have the yarn here. This is Knit Picks Dishy in the colorway Route 66. So I like that colorway. These will be for me because I like the color. So I finished that up. The other thing I finished is the other Knit Chat cowl by Chit Chat Knits. Yeah, I got that right. And this is why I ended up doing a dishcloth. It kind of killed a little bit of my knitting mojo. I got a little bit irritated with it, and I was so in love with it on the last one, right? I get it. And this is still wet. I literally just blocked it. or washed it. Obviously it's blocking, but I did this mostly out of the Freckled Whimsy colorway Olive Juice and her Serendipity base. Here's that. Yeah. And I didn't have enough yarn. It wasn't a full skein, and I probably should have known that. That's where I was when I showed it last, is right there. When she was selling this yarn, or they were selling this yarn, it said when I purchased it, it was on sale, that they had used some of this yarn for, like she was knitting on her knitting machine, or using her knitting machine to use some of the yarn. So I should have known it wasn't a full skein. I didn't weigh it. It is what it is. So I used this Knit Picks Felici, which I thought was a similar enough color up here that it wouldn't look too bad as just kind of an outline on there. And this is just Felici fingering weight in the colorway Dragon Fruit. And the interesting thing is when I weighed this, so this is supposed to be 100 grams, right? It wasn't. It was like 96, no, it's supposed to be 50 grams, sorry, for 218 yards. And it wasn't. It was 46.67 grams. So I don't know if you guys have run into that. I have run into that a lot where it isn't what it says it is as far as the weight goes. So I don't know if anybody else has run into that. I'd love to hear from you if you have, but that's kind of frustrating when you've paid for yarn and you're not getting what you are supposed to pay for. I can tell if it was maybe a couple ounces one way or the other, but 4 ounces is a little bit much. So that was a little bit disappointing. So this is probably going to end up in a gift thing. I just wasn't thrilled with it. It wasn't the pattern. I made the last one last time, and I love the pattern. It's a really fun pattern. I won't be making another one anytime soon, but there it is. It'll go in the gift pile. Not everything is a winner, right? But there's that. Also, not the last podcast, the one before that, said I was going to work on the Argyle vest from Kate Davies, one in this book on the cover. And I had that brown yarn, and I cast it on. I did the ribbing. I started doing the pattern. I actually cast it on 2 or 3 times because it got twisted when I was doing that first row. And then I noticed that I had started the ribbing incorrectly. So I think it was supposed to start with a knit or a purl, and I started it the opposite way, and then it wasn't lining up with the pattern on it, and I said, I'm done. So that's where that went, if you were wondering. It'll probably be made again. I needed it to go on timeout for a while. So if you were wondering the last time what happened, that's what happened with that one. And I don't, this is kind of the first time I've had this happen. I don't know if anybody else has had this happen, where you start things and then you're just like, that's not the right yarn, it's not the right pattern, whatever the case may be. I didn't read it. That one happens a lot. I would love to hear from you guys if you ever just kind of get frustrated with your knitting and you're just like, I don't know do I know how to do this? Even though you know how to do it. And sometimes that is just the way that works out. The other thing I started is the other thing that I started and then stopped and then restarted in another pattern. I did say I wanted to make the Sephora hat in the Chelsea Luck Zodiac sign yarn for the Cancer, since I am a Cancer. So this is in her, I think it's her 80-10-10 base, and I had said that I wanted to make that Sephora hat by the Woolly Wormhead. And I did cast it on. I'm going to put some pictures up of, it has this really pretty kind of faux cable running on the beret or hat. And because the yarn is variegated, there's nothing wrong with the pattern, it just wasn't the right yarn. So that I did the folded brim twice, and then I decided that based on the pictures that I probably have already put up, it just wasn't the right yarn for that hat. So that hat will probably be made in a different yarn at some point, because there was nothing wrong, I didn't have anything bad to say about the pattern. It was just my choice of yarn. So what did I decide to do with that hat? I decided to do the Sneachda tam with it. I'm going to put the pronunciation thing on here so I'm not butchering it. I actually did look it up because I knew I wasn't going to do it correctly. So the hat pattern that I picked is the Sneachda hat.
Sneachda.
Or tam. And that is by Stefanie Pollmeier. Pollmeier. I don't want to butcher the name. And it's just a really pretty pattern. I've been enjoying making it. I'm doing it on a US 4 3.5. And it just has this really fun pearl pattern on it here that you do for a few rows, and then you do a little bit of stockinette, and then you do that again. So I'm really happy with the way that this is turning out with that yarn. I think it's just really pretty. So I'm going to be finishing that one up here pretty soon. Obviously it's a fingering weight hat, so it's going to take a little bit more time than a DK or a worsted weight hat, but I think it's going to turn out really pretty. So yeah, there's that. And of course, Chelsea Luxe yarn is absolutely gorgeous, so nothing to say there. But it really does show that sometimes the yarn that you pick just isn't right for that pattern, and this is definitely a good lesson in that. This has been living in my Knit for Brains bag. This is just one of her little ones with the pull thing on it, and it's just little gnomes. Of course, I love my gnomes, so, and little snails. They're so stinking cute. And yeah, so that's just living in that, and that's the inside fabric right there. And actually, I think all of the bags that I'm using today are Knit for Brains bags. I love her bags, so it's just that day. So the next thing, which I did show on the last podcast, is my Alpine Bloom sweater that I would like to be my Rhinebeck sweater. So hopefully if any of you are coming to Rhinebeck, you can come see me. I will be on the hill. I will have a little something to give everybody that comes by and says hi. And I hope to meet a lot of you, if possible, in person. That would be the best. So last time I showed this, I had just started a little bit of the color work, like a tiny bit of it. And I'm halfway through the color work pattern now. And I had said that I went down a needle size. I did. I had gone down a needle size on this pattern, and then I pulled all that out and I went back up on the needle size to the normal size. And I'm honestly glad that I did. I know I said that my gauge was a little bit big, but that was just regular, here it is, it's right here still. That's just regular stockinette, right? So I might go down a needle size when I'm not doing the color work. I haven't 100% decided, but I mean, this was my gauge swatch from before. So now I'll show that. So I did pull the whole thing out, redid the collar, and then started the color work. And I did the ribbing in a 3.25, and I'm using a 3.5 for the body. And here you go. And I think it's really pretty. I think it's turning out really well. I did steam this a little bit recently to have it just kind of sit down a little bit better for the podcast. And I really just wanted to make sure that my gauge was okay, that it was going to fit okay. I did put it on barber cord and kind of try it on, and it seems like it's going to be fine. And I'm a little bit disappointed, but I'm not going to pull it out to make sure. You know, I would have liked for this kind of more red part here to have been in the flower instead of the green. But, you know, I'm sure I could have done some yarn maintenance on that and figured it out and played around with it. But really, I'm just going to let it be what it organically is throughout the ball of yarn. But I'm really happy with the way that's turning out. It's really pretty. There's my floats on the inside. So hopefully, I'll definitely have the color work done the next time, and hopefully I will have a lot of the body done, because I really want to have this done for Rhinebeck. So I'm really excited about that one. And I am doing this out of the Knit Picks Capretta is the main color. And the fingering weight in Heather Meridian. And this one has some cashmere in it, I believe. It's 80% superwash, merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. So there's that. And I have to say, I've done all of that on the yoke, and I still have this left, and this is probably about, I don't know, 7 or 8 grams. And I haven't started another ball of this at all. And then the color changing yarn is this one. And this is the Melody, Jojo Land Melody, and I believe that this is a discontinued yarn. But I just had it in my stash. Superwash, 100% wool. That's the tag for that one. Yeah. So that's what that is. And this is also living in another gnome bag. I think all 3 of them are gnome bags too, and Knit for Brains. I showed this last time. It's the wire top one that just opens up big in there. So that I've been working on. And I really want to be doing more sweaters. So I decided to jump on the Woolly Thistles sweater knit along that they're doing. And I had, they had some like grab bags of different yarns from Rama. So I cast on the striped sweater by Andrea Mowry. So I cast on the striped sweater by Andrea Mowry. And I am doing this. I am doing this in a US 5 3.75, and it's the stripes by Andrea Mowry. So I am doing she has like 2 or 3 different collars, and I'm going to do the structured one. So she just has you casting on and then jumping right into the yoke of the sweater. So that's what I'm doing. And so I started with this kind of orangey color, and then I have jumped into this green color. If you want to know what these colors are, I have them all listed on my project page on Ravelry. You can definitely check that out. So there's the beginnings of that. And then my next color is going to be this beautiful like winey purple color, which I just love. And then the other ones I put here. So they're all right here, and these are all of the other ones that I'm going to use. So this is Rama Fennel, and it is 175 meters, 550 grams. This one is 417 is the colorway. And so as you can tell, So as you can tell, they're all kind of fall inspired, autumn or autumnal colors, right? And a lot of these were in the own grant bag. The only one that I added, just so I have some more yardage that wasn't in the grant bag from the Woolly Thistle, is this purpley colored one, which I just love that color. I might have to make something out of that. So that is what I've been working on, kind of accessory garment wise. The other thing that I decided to cast on, I have a blanket upstairs that I knit, and it's just out of some acrylic yarn, which acrylic yarn, you know, nothing against it. It has its own place, but there, you know, it just constantly pills. And so my husband keeps saying, you need to make another blanket. So I am. And I cast on the Cozy Comfort Throw by a Homespun House. And I'm just going to use, I have a lot of bear yarn. Let's see it right there. You can see it right there. I have a lot of bear yarn. And then I'm just using, you know, random minis that I have. This is just one from Toad Hollow that is just in a random thing. So, and some bear yarn. And so this is what I have so far. There you go. So just different minis, throwing it in there. So that's been fun. And then I'm just slipping the last 3 stitches on the pattern to do the little applied eye cord. So it just has that nice finish on there. So that's it. You know, nothing special. Just trying to figure out what I want to be doing, and I don't know if that's something that you guys have run into. I'd love to hear from you, where you're just kind of in a flux, I guess, of like, I don't know really what I want to be doing or don't want to be doing. What I'm trying isn't working, and you know, that sort of thing. So that's just kind of where I feel like I've been with my knitting, and but I would love to hear from you guys if you guys think that that's something that you've had happen to you as well. Just kind of, I don't know what I'm doing kind of a situation. I did do a little bit of sewing, and this is something that I'm hoping to really hoping to hone and get into, and hopefully we'll be able to get going. On the Bakery Bears, if you're a patron, and I am lucky to be able to do that, she has a tutorial where she did a cross stitch with you, and then she has turned that cross stitch into a project bag. And I did not do the cross stitch. It would take me 1,000 years to get that done, but I decided to use the tutorial as a way to learn how to make a project bag. So right now I just put together a whole bunch of different, I had some fat quarters. I went to Joann's and picked some fat quarters out. So I have that, and this is on the kind of foamy stuff. It's just ironed on there. The inside of the bag is, I know you're all shocked, right? It's going to be orange. And so that's that. I'm waiting on a zipper, and then I'll be putting it together. And then this is going to be the cute little handle on there. It's just going to be this little gingham. So maybe I'll be making some project bags. I don't think it'll happen anytime in the future. I really want to hone my sewing. I used to sew in high school, which was 30 years ago. It's hard to say, but it was like 30 years ago that I was in sewing in high school. I was a teacher's assistant, so I was fairly good at sewing, but I haven't done it. I haven't really done much of that in 30 years, so I'm hoping to really reintroduce myself into that. I would love to be able to make project bags and share those, or have a giveaway or something of that nature. So we're going to keep that on the horizon, but that is another project that has been taking up some of my time. So that is it on all of the making. If you would like to not hang out with me for the rest of the time, that is perfectly fine. I'm glad you checked out my channel. Again, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell if possible. Share with your friends. Whatever you'd like to do there would be great. Books that I've been reading. I did read The House of Eve by Sadeqa Johnson. I'm hoping I'm saying that first name correctly. It was a very good book about some African American women from the late 1940s into the early 1950s. One that, both of them become pregnant. One that has a few miscarriages, is married, and then one that is, a younger teenage girl, is unmarried, and kind of their journey. The one that, one of them ends up adopting the other person's baby, and just the journey of what that was like, not only for African American people at the time, but also what it would have been like to go to a place where you would go and have your baby, right? So nobody was kind of witness to you having your baby, and then you just kind of came back into your life. A completely different person after quite a traumatic thing of having your baby taken away from you. If you're interested in that book, it is definitely a good, interesting read. I very much enjoyed that one. The other one that I read is called Cassandra in Reverse by Holly Smale. Very good book about a girl that is kind of neurospicy, as you could call it. She's somewhere on the spectrum, and she kind of doesn't know it. Her parents die tragically. She kind of learns that she can reverse time, right? And so she can go back a few months at a time. And, she'd just gone through a breakup. She lost her job. All these things have transpired all at once. And then she figures out she can kind of backtrack. And she, of course, as a lot of these types of stories go, she figured out she could backtrack, and maybe she didn't want what she thought she wanted, right? And then you kind of get a little bit more into a loss that she had, and then a reuniting with her sister. It's a very, very good book. I would give it a solid 3 out of 5. I got a little bit bored with her kind of going back and forth toward the middle, but overall, definitely a strong book for sure. What have I been watching? Well, I mostly watch knitting podcasts, so that kind of goes without saying. But what I have been enjoying watching is a show with Stanley Tucci in it, and it's called Searching for Italy, and I've been wanting to watch that show nonstop. I am about 40% Italian, and my mom is full-blooded Italian, so I definitely grew up with that family influence in my life, and so Italy, Sicily, but my family's both from Sicily and kind of Rome, mainland Italy as well. So definitely love that part of my heritage and would really like to go there someday. So that show, I believe we've been watching it on Discovery Plus. I think it's a documentary that it's under documentaries on Discovery Plus, but I think it's originally on CNN. But a lot of fun, a lot of good food. You get to see a lot of different places throughout Italy. I just started the 2nd season, so I've been really enjoying that. We also just started again Parts Unknown with Anthony Bourdain. It has taken me, I will very honestly tell you that it has taken me 5 years to be able to watch Anthony Bourdain since his incredibly untimely suicide. That one really hurt a lot, so it took me a long time to be able to watch it, and it still hurts watching that show because I really liked him. I liked him when he was on No Reservations. I liked reading his books. But anyway, on a better note, so we've been definitely rewatching Parts Unknown and enjoying that. We're only a few episodes, and I think we're on episode 5 or something of the first season. So just kind of going back and rewatching that, and that's fun. So that's that. On therapy talk, wanted just to briefly kind of talk about feeling overwhelmed. I mean, that probably happens sometimes with your knitting if you look at a long pattern and you think, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. And we can definitely equate that to our life, where sometimes we kind of feel overwhelmed at the abundance of things that we have to accomplish, or goals that we've set for ourselves, or our job, or just the various parts of our life that we try to keep up. And one of the things that I do talk often to people about is something that I call chunking. And so breaking those things down into smaller, manageable parts, and so that you don't feel overwhelmed by the enormity of the situation or the enormity of the task that you feel like you have to accomplish. So even though it might feel daunting to bring things to smaller goals, sometimes we do have to do that. Make them more realistic, achievable goals instead of feeling like you're overwhelmed. So if even if you're reading a pattern, I know some people like to read ahead in patterns. Some people feel that that's intimidating or a little bit, you feel a little bit too overwhelmed with that. And I completely get that. And so, chunking, breaking it down into smaller, more manageable pieces or steps can definitely help with managing that overwhelming feelings. Because if we are constantly setting goals for ourselves that are potentially unrealistic for maybe the mental capacity that we have that day, or maybe we haven't been sleeping well, or maybe we're going through something in our private lives, right, that is kind of sapping the energy away from us, maybe job-wise, professionally, or vice versa. And so sometimes being able to break that down into smaller, more manageable pieces and realistic goals helps us feel like we're achieving more, even though they're maybe in smaller increments. So even I think with our making or our knitting, right, sewing, whatever it is, like breaking that down into more manageable parts or pieces that you feel like you can accomplish, maybe that day or that half hour or that week, is sometimes really an important part of that. Because if we are constantly feeling like we can't achieve something, well then we're probably not going to achieve it. But if we can achieve things on a smaller scale, then we're going to feel more accomplished. So if you can, apply that chunking method to other parts of your life or to your making, I hope that can maybe help you see things from a different perspective. And I hope that can help you a little bit. And I think that that's something that I have had to do. I love having all the WIPS, right? But I think that for me, like I was talking about before, I've kind of been all over the place with my making, and I think I'm hoping, that's always the goal, I'm hoping to make it into things that are more manageable, that I would really want to be spending my time on. Because if you don't love what you're doing, it really can sap the joy out of that making. So let's go with some chunking, see how that works. Please let me know if you've tried it or if you feel like that would be helpful for you. And that's about it. I don't have really any life updates. I haven't done really anything exciting. It's been kind of status quo around here, working, taking care of everybody that I need to take care of, doing the things that we need to do, and nothing super exciting. I will say I did go get my nails done. I'll show these off. My daughter-in-law for my birthday got me a gift card to go get my nails done, and I have had acrylics over my lifetime. I just haven't had them in a really long time, and I thought, I'm going to go treat myself. So when I went, the girl that painted my nails, I thought initially I just wanted like the orange triangle at the top, and she said, oh, you want an orange triangle? And I said, you know what, you do whatever you want. Her nails were done beautifully, very artistic, so that is what she did with them. I think it's super fun. I was really thrilled. So I'm going to go back to her again. And, one of the things I did put a post on Instagram, and I said, when you let somebody you just go to somebody and you say, you know what, do what you want. Sometimes magic happens, right? Put it in somebody else's. You feel comfortable with their art, put it in somebody else's hands. And I'm really glad I did because they look adorable. Next time, she said, next time we're gonna do autumn. So we'll see what we have. I'll definitely show those off. And I hope to see you guys again next time. And as I try to say at the end of each episode, please give yourself the same grace that you would give everyone else. And take care.